advocate on the ground because people just walk in when they want.
Mm.
Yes.
Okay, but I would imagine that ultimately you're the one who is accountable, because it's not a partnership. You're the one who is accountable to the people who seek the services of the firm, in as much as there are all these branches. So how do you handle that aspect of accountability to those who come to you? And I'm asking this because a judge ultimately also has to be accountable in the discharge of their duty once they are appointed as one.
So in each office, there is a secretary whose duty is to keep a record of everybody who visits the office on any particular day and monitor the occurrences that happen in the office every particular day. And they're supposed to report me on a daily basis before they leave the office, so that on any particular day, I am able to be informed about what happened and what transpired in each and every office. When the advocates go to court, they are also supposed to report to me what they did for that particular day before they go home.
Okay, now my final question relates to what you would consider to be key attributes of a good judge. Now, could you state those attributes? But in answering that question, which is now the most important part of it for me and the commission, you demonstrate that you have those attributes and relate them to specific examples, specific, key experiences that you say that you've gone through that demonstrate that you have those attributes, so that you avoid being generic in terms of their attributes. You relate it individually to yourself with key experiences that you've gone through that show that you have those attributes.
One of them is honesty. I usually carry out my work with a lot of honesty, and some cases that I've gone through. There's a time some people came to my office and they told me that they wanted to get some money from some place, and they needed someone who is honest, who is not going to, what they call it, we call it kurusha them. So they talked to me, and I told them it was not possible because whatever they were trying to engage in was dishonest, and they cannot benefit from my honesty when they are doing a dishonest thing. So they left. Another time at Makindu, another client came and he told me he had very many briefs which he wanted to give to me, but he was going to give them to me on one condition, that once we file the cases, we should not serve the defendants, but we should draft an affidavit of service to show that we serve them. And because they were going to be liquidated claims, then we would automatically get judgment entered against those people, and then we just go and execute. So I declined, and then he was like, "How can you decline so many briefs like this?" I told him I cannot do that. That is one of them. The other aspect is accountability to my clients, accountability to even the members of the public. In my dealings as a practitioner, I have always ensured that I am accountable. I keep my clients informed. And where I've seen the issue of accountability coming into play much is in these matters of running down, where we have to disclose to the clients how much money was awarded. And then I normally sit them down, then we calculate and I pay them. And sometimes I came to realize that there's so much that goes on that I don't know about those matters, because me, I only charge what we agreed with the client and I'm done with them. So that's an example for about accountability. I always pay my taxes according to the income that I make, and I believe that's another quality of accountability. When there are issues with the court, I either walk myself there and try to sort out the issue, or sometimes I write letters and then we get the issues resolved. So I believe that is also another way of being accountable in my responsibilities.
But Wakil, there is some water in front of you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mother.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, my lady. Good morning once again.
Good morning, Commissioner.
A quick one. In a case for defilement, what are the elements that make up that offense?
For defilement, the first element is the age of the victim.
What about the age?
Must be a minor, who is a child below the age of 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Then the other aspect will be that one of penetration. There must be penetration
Mm-hmm.
in a case of defilement. Those are the key ones that I'm remembering. I haven't done one in quite a while.
Okay, let's imagine you are now a judge and you are handling an appeal.
Yes.
The accused has appealed against conviction, and his main ground is that the magistrate did not consider the fact that the prosecution did not produce a birth certificate for the victim. In this particular case, the victim was 8 years old, and the accused was convicted on the evidence of the mother who said the child is 8. How would you decide that case?
When I'm doing a case for defilement, since the age of the child is a major component of the offense,
Mm-hmm.
The proof of age is not only done by a birth certificate.
Mm-hmm.
An assessment can be done, and actually, I doubt whether there's any court that will proceed with a defilement case without having the.
I have told you what
age,
happened in this
age
particular
of
one.
the child assessed.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it will depend on whether I will choose to believe the evidence of the mother and the circumstances under which she gave the evidence. If the evidence is believable, then it means I will also believe in it.
I want to understand how you arrive at
I will
that.
evaluate the evidence and then confirm that the mother was actually speaking the truth and she had no reason not to speak the truth. I will also consider the, although I will not have the victim before me, but when the evidence is being taken, there's usually an indication of what the magistrate looked at when they were deciding that what the mother is saying is the truth. So I'll also evaluate that.
Okay, do you know of any case law that addresses that kind of scenario?
Not at the moment.
Okay, thank you, and I wish you well. Thank you, my lady.
Look at the practice in the High Court. I want you to tell us when and how do parties invoke arbitration?
In the High Court?
Yes, it's only done in the High
Court. Arbitration is invoked when there was a clause in the dealings between the parties that required them to go for arbitration, but also the court can choose to refer the matter to arbitration upon assessing the case, and also the parties can request the court to allow them to go for arbitration.
Under what circumstances would a court just send a matter to arbitration?
I'm not very sure because I haven't dealt with arbitration in many years.
Yes, I don't think the court on its own volition can send the parties to arbitration because it is predicated on the agreement of both the parties. Now, if they go and an arbitrator adjudicates on the matter, on what basis would the court set aside that arbitration order or judgment?
I think on the basis that maybe the proceedings were mad with some kind of illegality, the same way the courts would set aside a consent order.
Mhm.
Yes.
What is the overarching principle in arbitration?
I can't remember you, Alicia.
Okay, thank you. Justice Majanja.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning,
I've
Your
looked
Lordship.
at your sample writings. I must say you write very well. Your samples of submissions you sent us are very detailed. You refer to cases. And speaking for myself, I find them very long. If you are a judge, what would that present to you? Advocates writing very long submissions.
My Lord, I think it will depend on the particular case, because not all cases we write long submissions. There are those we write short submissions. There are those we write long submissions, and the submissions depend, I think, on either the seriousness of the matter or the importance to which we attach it.
But now you are a judge.
So
How would you deal with that issue?
I would try to limit.
And why?
I would try to limit the number of pages that the submissions are, because of the time constraints that the judges have. You may not find enough time to read those long submissions from very many parties.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, thank you. I have looked at your record, your documents. I would like to ask you, because we have had a long stint, a long experience in the practice of law. In your sample writing, I have not seen any reference to any constitutional case that you have done, whether through submissions or response submissions or particularly as a counsel, whether in support or in defense of a case. I've not seen any constitutional matter.
Yes.
Does it mean you don't practice constitutional law?
I think where I practice, because I practice at the grassroots, and there are no, I haven't come across. In fact, the only constitutional matter I did was one, which dealt with the lottery, I think lottery machines, those machines, the coins for
Yes.
gambling.
Yeah.
So I only did that one, but we never concluded it. So I do not have submissions for it.
Okay.
So I don't come across the cases. We only do what we are brought by clients.
Okay, of
Yes.
course. Now, what is the role of the courts? Enforcement of the law or interpretation? What is the main role of the courts?
In
Enforcement of the law
constitutional
or
matters.
interpretation of the law?
Are you talking about the constitutional matters or
And generally.
Generally. One of them is interpretation of the law, that is for the High Court with regard to the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And then the others are, the other role is also to enforce the law, to make sure that the law is followed.
What is mandamus? Mandamus order.
A mandamus order is an order compelling a government officer or office to obey a court judgment. Yes.
Okay. And now finally, how do you have heard of judicial activism?
Yes.
What, how do you understand it to be? What is the meaning of that, particularly in Kenya?
For me, I understand judicial activism as when the court makes decisions which look like, in the eyes of those who are seeing them, which look like they are influenced by some social factors without considering really the law.
the strict application of the law.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning once again, Council.
Good morning, madam.
When we were in law school, there was this decision that we all learned, the Rex versus Amkeo. Do you remember it?
Wow, it's many years. Unless
Okay.
I cross-check, I can't remember.
Okay.
Yes.
It's with regards to what the judge mentioned, that customary marriage is repugnant to justice and morality. And I want you to tell us over the years, what legislative changes have we made as a country to protect customary marriages, protect and recognize them? Legislative, and if you have any decision.
What I have in mind is the Marriage Act 2014, which now recognizes marriages under custom, and under which they can be registered. So that is one of them. And then the other law where the issue of customary marriage comes in is in the Law of Succession Act, when it comes to recognition of polygamous families.
Okay. My last question, what remedies are available for parties who are not married, but they acquire property when they lived together?
They can file if they can agree how to share the property. Of course, if they are not in agreement, then they can go to court in the normal way for their rights to be determined and the properties to be shared.
So which normal way? So what remedies would a court grant?
A declaration to start with that the properties were acquired jointly, because that would be a main issue for the court to determine, because these people are not married, and then an order of how the property is going to be shared in between the two of them.
So what declaration, what orders would the court, what declaratory orders would the court issue?
That the property was jointly acquired.
Under what principle?
Equity. That should be an equitable remedy.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Wakili, once more, good morning.
Good morning, my leadership.
Yes, we were told by stakeholders that they need persons who will come and work, who are extremely hardworking. Please tell us how your ordinary day looks like, averagely.
Okay, when I come to the office in the morning,
What time?
that is around 8, I go to court almost on a daily basis, except on Fridays when most courts don't do matters. By the other days, most of the days, we have court work. So once we report is to confirm that we are ready, to confirm that the clients are coming, the ones who have not arrived, to confirm whether the courts are sitting, and then after that we get into court. Most days, by we finish court, when it's not a heavy day, they are done by midday. Then I go back to the office. Then the rest of the day is spent either drafting or attending to clients. And that is it, up to 5.
So in your own assessment, and speaking for yourself, would you say that you are a hardworking individual?
Yes, I am a hardworking individual. I've always been a hard worker. I started working when I was young. I worked and paid my own fees in high school, in the university. After when the cafeteria system was introduced, I was midway in my studies. So I had to look for something to do because my parents could not afford to maintain me. So I've always worked. And I've worked since I was admitted up to now. I'm still practicing, and I'll continue to work.
And listening to what you told us at the beginning of this interview, you come out as a very straightforward professional who has lived true to the calling of the profession. And sometimes the kind of work we do, like what you're doing, is a service to the community. And in a country where we have a short supply of honest people, don't you think it would be unjust to remove you from Machakos, Makindu, Voi, because you're rendering that service to the community there?
It would not be unjust to remove me because I have served them for quite long. I've given my best to the community, and I feel that I will continue serving the community. This is how I describe practice. Both practice in the bar and service in the judiciary, we are all serving the community. So it's only that we are serving them at different levels. And even as I leave practice, I don't believe there will be a gap because there are other advocates who can now take up what I have been doing. And a good example is what is happening in Voi. When I went there were very few advocates. So I found myself to have to do very many pop-up briefs because there was no one else to do them. So I did very many. And then after that, the associate who I took up for that office later grew and opened an office there. And many others have come now and opened offices. So now there are very many advocates who can give the service that I've been giving.
Thank you. I'm satisfied with that answer. That's all from me.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I have two very brief questions for you, Your Honor. How do you keep yourself informed, or how do you stay informed and up to date on legal developments and changes in law?
Okay, it's through reading, and the changes, I must admit right now, there are very many and they are very fast. So sometimes it's not even possible to keep up. So I try to read as much as I can, the cases that are being decided, but sometimes I lag behind. I'm not able to cope. I usually say the speed at which the law is changing right now is very high. I believe because of the change in technology, there are many new aspects that are coming up. But I try to read as much as I can.
Attend seminars and workshops deliberately just to update yourself?
I attend when I'm available.
Okay, so could you also tell us how the role of the judge today has changed from that of a traditional judge as we have always known?
The change that I have observed is that the traditional judge was just there to apply the law as it is and nothing else. But right now, the judge has that extra duty of really interpreting statutes, interpreting the law, which is not what was traditionally done. Basically, the traditional judge was just deciding cases according to the law, and that would be the end. But now they have that extra duty of interpreting the law and also educating people about the law and the changes that are there in the law.
Thank you, Chair. Now, Madam, information available to us indicate that less than 20% of Kenyans have access to justice through our formal justice system. What would you think we could do to increase that access?
One thing that I've been thinking was movement of the lowest ranking court to places which are accessible to the people, because you will find that most courts where they are, even for people to travel there, especially people from poor backgrounds, they find it even hard to travel to where the courts are. So sometimes they don't take their matters to court, not because they're not interested in getting justice, but because for them it is expensive and they feel it is an extra cost. I have had occasion to even see cases, criminal cases, there where the witnesses cannot come to court because they are saying we'll go to court, the case won't get finalized, we're spending so much money. So they prefer settling the matter. Even in a criminal matter, they prefer sorting it out at home. So if we could have the lowest rank of the court sitting near the people, like I've been thinking of the deceased place, and actually when the small courts were introduced, I thought that is where they will go to be domiciled, so that they are nearer the people and people can easily access justice. So that's one of the ways I think we would take justice to the people.
Have you interacted with the AJS system promoted by the judiciary?
Yes, I've interacted with it. I've been an active member of the CUC at Voi. We hold activities, we talk to people. I once had occasion to talk to the chiefs of that area. And I think it is a good initiative because people are getting more aware of their rights and of what to do. It's a forum where people are being educated about access to justice. And it's also a forum where all the players in the justice system are able to come together and come up with local solutions. Local for that particular court, we're able to sit and discuss the challenges that we have in that particular station, and we're able to address them and come up with a solution. And for me, it is working very well, and it has really improved even the relationship between the members of the public and the courts, and between the advocates and the judicial officers. It's a very good forum.
The ADR, we hear that lawyers have been reluctant in that front. What do you have to say as a lawyer?
For me, my interest has always been for people to get justice as quickly as possible. I like finishing my cases as quickly as possible. So if like court and next mediation is available, I advise my clients to go for it. I even actively advise them to go for it because it will resolve their issue and it will reduce the work on my desk. So for me, it's a positive step, which is good. I don't mind it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable CJ. Now, Wakili, there are documents that are in our possession, and it's a bit worrying that we do not have any writings or recommendations from your referees. For instance, your professional referees, none of them has written to us. You also did not provide character references. Why is that the case? And what is that supposed to communicate to this commission?
I think I just forgot to put them because they had already written and they had sent the documents, and the documents were in the physical copy that I presented. So I think it was just an oversight that I didn't put them in my current documents.
Okay.
But they had been put there earlier.
All right. If you're successful in this bid, you will be sent to a station where you will be leading a team. And maybe you could tell us what are some of the emerging trends in the human resource management currently? Give us 3.
There's need for proper communication because there seems to be a generation gap where the older people and the younger people are finding themselves not able to communicate effectively, or the expectations of the younger people, they feel that the older people are expecting too much from them when they should be just allowed to work in a very relaxed environment. They should be allowed to work the way they want, and as we want them to work the way we are used to. So there's now need to communicate to them properly and to make them to understand why we do things the way we do them and why it is important to keep the systems running. That is one of the issues. The other ones I may not be able to comment because I'm not in that docket of human resource management.
But you
I
understand,
may not be hands-on on the issues.
but you understand if you're successful, you become a judge, you will be leading people.
Yes, I will acquaint myself with all the management skills that are required for that job.
At the moment, how is your law firm constituted? What are the structures?
It's a simple structure where I just have an assisting advocate and a clerk and a secretary for each office.
So they expect you to know how to handle even those few that you have in your organization.
Yes,
because that is human resource.
Yes, I handle them.
Okay.
With my natural capacities, I've not taken any studies in human resource management.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, commissioners, and also Madam Sioka, Katumbi, for availing yourself for this interview. I think this brings us to the end of the interview. On behalf of the Commission, I would like to thank you for your resilience, hard work, and commitment, especially to the pro bono service to the members of the public who are indigent. We thank you for that, and providing legal areas that help the wheels of justice keep going. We thank you for that, and we wish you well.
Thank you.
Yes, before we release any candidate, we always give them an opportunity to ask us a question, if you have any.
Thank you, madam, and thank you, commissioners.
And rest to the framers of the Constitution, because they are the ones who have given us the responsibility of ensuring there is diversity in the recruitment. But that's a valid question, which we always put to the candidate, because we like to hear from the candidate which county of this, which county of these 4 counties do you associate yourself with? Do you feel like it is the county where you belong? So you told us Makueni, but this is interesting. You are working in another county of Taita Taveta, where you are living with your children and where they would say they belong. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have noted that. We wish you well. And I think you are really projecting the face of Kenya by, traversing in all the counties and having your footprint felt in all the counties, which is, I don't know how to describe it, but it's something to be commended.
Thank you.
In you. It's very positive that you're able to work in 4 counties and have your footprint felt in all of them. So we wish you well. We will get in touch with you when we complete the exercise. But please take our greetings to all those 4 counties.
Thank you, Your Ladyship. I'm grateful. Have a good day.
Yes, thank you.